Today is time for the first sprint race of the season. Of course, we are in Baku as we are now considering our new rival. We can choose between George Russell and Lando Norris. Last year, we had more than enough rivalries with George Russell, so I decided to take a look at what we can do against Lando Norris. I think the McLaren is a bit more beatable than the Mercedes at the moment, so I think I made the right decision there. As we can finally, I said it already in the last episode, if you haven't seen that one, go check it out, links in the description. But yeah, I already told you guys that I was going for a new sponsor, because we are finally claim level 5 and we are going for Equita Oil. I have a feeling that they are quite good for us because I actually forgot what they wanted from us, but the weekly resources were still very good. And you can see I decided to put Equita oil a bit around the car as well, and giving it a bit of color as well, because I noticed that it was only black and white, the sponsors. So the rear wing now has a red sponsor on, and we have $1.6 million, so we are going to put $1.25 million dollars. What the hell? Okay, let's continue. We are going to put some money into the CC department as we are taking a look at all the upgrades. Of course, some new upgrades are always welcome. We definitely need them. So that's why we are looking at some CC upgrades. Of course, now that upgrade for the quality or the duration of the upgrades hasn't come in yet. So this will take a few days longer than it would if we waited a few days. But you know, that would cancel out, so it doesn't matter. You can see, once again, we are doing all the upgrades that we possibly can, and the first upgrade already fails. So we'll have to do that because we want as many upgrades as possible. But luckily we still have 800 resource points left and we only need 200 for this one. I think something is going to fail as well because I just have that feeling. Let's see, the 9th is now and the durability fails as well. Why is everything failing? Don't we have any luck here? Well, it's only 150, so we put that into that upgrade, and now we can be sure that everything will go through, right? Okay, this is the first one, yes. I see 4 more upgrades. Will those go through as well? We'll only wait a few more days, and yes, awesome. That's 3 upgrades, the final upgrades, to make it 5 out of 5. And that's 5 upgrades for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Of course, we first have to do a marketing department event. We either have to apologize for something, as there was an interview with Drugovic, something went wrong, or we can ignore it. To be honest, I want to ignore it because the team acclaim, I can't lose that right now. We need to get up to 10, 15 or even level 20 to make sure that we can try to get some new sponsors to get a better cash flow. So only losing 20k, that's nothing for me. So yeah, finally arriving at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Let's get into quali. So the qualifying, as you can see, 4 minutes remaining. We almost crashed into the castle there, but luckily we don't. As you can see, the icon, the orange icon from last race is still there. I forgot to change my components. So yeah, this will be probably a Q1 exit, probably not making it through to the next part. And I'm quite certain of that because we only have 1 run. I thought it would be enough, as last race we only needed 1 run to get through to Q2. But we came out in the traffic as well, so this is going to be a really fun qualifying. You can see me sliding around in the first 2 corners as well. But you know, I decided, because we will get a penalty for the component changes we do now, that I will keep these components for the sprint race, see if it works. If it doesn't, then we can always change it and start it back. If it works, then we can always try to fight back. But I want at least P16 or 17. No, not P16 or 17. I want at least P14. That's what I said to myself. As we cross the line, and it's only P21. So yeah, that means that we are not through to qualifying. This is the first time that we are not out of Q1. And we decide to just go with it for now. Of course, the sprint race will be quite depressing if it looks like this, but hopefully the pace is a bit better. Otherwise we will change the components and we'll start at the back, try to finish in the points. It will be a lot of chaos, but hopefully it will work as well.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Gasly, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Tsunoda, Albon, Drugovich, Sargent, Joe, Lightning, Joe. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
So the sprint race is starting now. Of course, the formation lap is in a sprint race as well. You can see we are starting in P21, my teammate in P18, so our team is not the best right now. Hopefully, as my rival is now Norris, he's starting in P7. Hopefully he has something that goes wrong this race, because we need something to go wrong for him if we want to keep that battle in the rivalry going. If we want him to run away with it, then we have to just do stuff like this and forget to change components, which really cost me a lot of time. But it's lights out. Never mind. It's lights out and away we go for the sprint race. The first sprint race of the season. Here we go then. Around the other side of Sargent already. Can we overtake Joe as well? Still side by side. The Vries is also looking. We are going around the other side of Albon as well. Can we overtake a few more spots? No, we cannot. Maybe into turn 2 we can attack. We can only attack on Joe. It looks like, because the inside line is so busy, that with the outside line we overtook Albon as well. But of course we have a lot of power because of the ICE that is heavily worn as we go into the back of Bottas, but for some reason we don't get any damage. You can see me looking at it, and that's why I forgot to shift down, and that gave Albon a position back. I already didn't feel comfortable with the car. The car felt really slippery. I think that's something with this track, because I've heard from other people as well that this track is a bit glitchy with the tire wear and with the grip levels. But as you can see, only in lap 2 we are already losing touch with Albon, Bottas and stuff like that. Of course here we are back because they are all bunched up into one another. But you can see the sliding is just, they are horrible. Last race was the best ever battle that I've had with a few people, and now it's just the worst. Once again touching the wall, no damage at all. I have a feeling that this could be the same glitch as we had in Bahrain on our first race, where we just put our damage levels to simulations, but if we go into the race, like here, we can't get any damage at all. So I think that is the case with this race as well. Hopefully it will be fixed for next race, but you can see I decided to just quit this race. It just wasn't working, and I feel like I shouldn't be wasting my time in a sprint race if I will be starting last. So that's why I decided to go for the penalties.
And a warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku, and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. Baku City Circuit then. It's an unpredictable 3.7 mile track around the streets of the Azerbaijan capital. 20 turns for our drivers to navigate today, including the infamous Turn 8, one of the tightest and most challenging corners of the season. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Ocon, Stroll, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Bottas, Drugovic, Joe, De Vries, Albon, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Hulkenberg. Now it's time to head down to the track. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once more by Anthony Davidson. Why don't we kick off by discussing Max Verstappen? That was a great win in the last race, but can they keep that momentum going into this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
So as you can see, 22 place grid penalty, but we are starting in P22 anyway. We were DNFing last race in the sprint race, but it's line set and away we go for the main Grand Prix. Can we do something today? As you can see, a lot of drivers here trying to fight for positions, not even in the points. You can see the fights are way worse in the back marker cars compared to what they are at the front. We are gaining a few positions starting in P22 now, luckily with some fresh components, so that will probably help us into getting faster and faster over the weekend. Of course, the first few racing laps that I've done here in the sprint race and in qualifying were horrible, so I'll have to adjust it as we overtake our teammates. So I'll have to learn how to drive with these new components, because it will actually change the top speeds and that will change the braking points, and it's really difficult to just from one lap to another just snap it and get used to it. So you will see me braking a bit early, sometimes braking a bit late, as my teammate is fighting Tsunoda here. We overtook him and are up into P16. The guys ahead, Nick De Vries is still ahead of us. How is that possible? I don't know. Okay, let's just continue with the video as we are sliding through the corners. So yeah, I noticed that even with these components changed, it's still really difficult to keep the advantage that we had in other races, to keep that into this race. Of course, we once again increased the AI levels from 95 to 97, and maybe that's good enough for us, because now we are a bit more around our teammates, putting De Vries on the defensive line, going around our side, and into the top 15 we go. So that's finally a good overtake as well. It's slow but steady, you know? It's not like we are overtaking somebody every single lap, but I have a feeling that if we take a good strategy and if we put our push modes at the right time, then we can absolutely try to fight for the points. Maybe P11, P12 will it be? I don't know yet, but that's what we'll find out as we are taking a look at what tires we have left. You can see we can only choose between soft and hards, and I decided these tires feel horrible. I'm not fast enough. I'm going into the pits. It's a really late call. We go into the pits, and yeah, that puts us in P22, of course. Somebody else, Oscar Piastri, who started from the hards, is also in the pits. Don't know what he's doing, but you can see now that we are one lap running already in this race with these hards. You can see the tire is around 3% on the rear tires, 2% on the front. So I have a feeling that we can definitely end the race on this tire. Already overtaking Hulkenberg and Joe, so we didn't lose that much time. And now, as every car is going into the pits, we are gaining a few more positions ahead of Bottas. We are now as well, and it's not by a few tenths; it's actually by a few seconds. He's 3 seconds behind us, so that's great to see that it actually worked that well. As we are now still behind Yuki Tsunoda, but I think he is still. Did he make another pit stop? I have a feeling that he has to make a second one if we. If he already made a pit stop, as Gasly came out of the pits. Luckily, we had that glitch, because otherwise we wouldn't be driving anymore. That would have put us with a loss of front wing, or maybe even a wheel, yeah, away from our car. So we are up into P14. Gasly and Bottas are now behind us, so that's really good to see. Tsunoda will go into the pits in a few laps time, so it's automatically P13, maybe even higher if some of the other guys still need to pit as well. I see a Haas up there, I see a McLaren. Is it an Alpine? I think I see an Alpine there. The other McLaren, by the way, I think that's Lando Norris, also in the pits now. So yeah, we don't even need Tsunoda to wait for the pit stop. We can actually overtake him without DRS. But here comes Pierre Gasly. He's going for the bonjour, but luckily we can deny that with an au revoir. Au revoir. My French is not the best. Au revoir. And now we can continue our race in P13. Lando Norris, rival, is on the mediums. He's going from hards to mediums, but in a more logical way. Like he's not lapping, he's not pitting in lap 10. So yeah, that was a good call from McLaren with Oscar Piastri. Hopefully we can gain another position with that. But yeah, Lando Norris, our teammate. No, not our teammate. Our teammate. Did I just spoil the halfway through the season? Maybe, maybe not. Ciao. But yeah, our rival now. He's of course on the new medium, so he's quite fast, and you can see Oscar Piastri and Lance Stroll. We only need to overtake these two drivers, and then we are in the points. But I have the feeling that because my tires are about 2 or 3 laps older than some of these guys, it's going to be quite difficult to actually catch up to Stroll, because Stroll of course is in an Aston Martin. It's still Stroll, but you know, it's an Aston Martin, so that car is way quicker than us, and it's a game, it's not real life, so it won't be that easy to catch up to Stroll. Now Ocon is ahead of us, as well as PS3 has gone into the pits, and we are now up into P11. This could be the maximum for us, as the gap ahead is 4 seconds, to Ocon even 8 seconds, and we only have a few laps left. Gasly is still quite close behind us, and Bottas is now catching up as well. It's not really that Gasly has been putting that much pressure on us, but I have the feeling that this car just isn't made for this track. It's really annoying to have such a lack of pace. Of course, still P11, so I think this AI level of 97 is still good, as Pierre Gasly overtakes us just like Max Verstappen did last race. But I have the feeling that we can't fight back, because we don't have that good of a traction, and you can see Gasly is just getting away with it. It's not that he's that much faster, it's just that as long as he can keep it outside that 1 second window, then we'll have nothing to fight for. And it's actually just for P11, P12, so I would just want to save the car a bit and make sure that we get to the end, so our sponsor is still happy with us, that we didn't get another DNF, because that would be actually horrible. Maybe we could lose Team Claim level 5, and does your sponsor go away if you're underneath the acclaim level? That's a question that I have now. I don't know, and I don't want to find out, so let's just try to stay in P12, as Charles Leclerc won the race, and it looks like we finished the race already in P12. Not the most exciting one, a lot of issues that we had this weekend, so hopefully next episode in Miami will go a bit better. Of course, I already drove that race, and I can still say to you, it is going to be a bit better than this.
And so ends another Azerbaijan Grand Prix. A fascinating race and a well-deserved victory. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
So as you can see, this time it's not a double podium for Red Bull, not even a podium for Max Verstappen. It's Leclerc, Russell and Perez who are on the podium. We didn't have the best weekend, our teammate didn't either. So yeah, that's really unfortunate for us, of course. Finishing the race in P12, starting in P22 is still a good result, but we are used to scoring P6s in 2 of the 3 races that we finished, except for this one, of course. So yeah, it's really unfortunate that we couldn't even gain just 1 point. We'll try to fight back in Miami, of course. That's our goal, to score a point every single weekend. But yeah, as you can see, finishing P12, this is of course the result of the entire weekend. Leclerc taking 33 points, so he is taking the maximum amount of points, except for the fastest lap, of course. I don't know who the fastest lap has, but let's take a look. Who has the fastest lap? It's Lando Norris, actually. That was the good strategy from him, going from hards to mediums. Maybe we should have done that as well, but the mediums just weren't that fast underneath our car, so I feel like we couldn't even do that. My teammate finishing in P19, that's only because Alexander Albon had a DNF. Did Alexander Albon have a DNF? I guess? No, I don't know, but he didn't finish the race. As you just saw the results of the standings after this race. The rivalry breakdown is 3 against 7, still 5 races remaining, so we can still fight back. Team Acclaim goes up, even though we didn't finish the sprint race. Luckily, the real race, caught up for that, and we still gain a bit of team acclaim. I guess that we are going to be around lap 10, around the halfway time that we go to level 10, as we didn't score a single point. That's what the goal is from our secondary sponsor, to gain a top 10 finish. And that's of course automatically gaining a point in every single weekend. We have 1.7 mil to spend next episode. Are we going to spend it? I don't know just yet. We'll find out. But yeah, at the moment that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you can't wait to see the Miami Grand Prix. That will be out the day after tomorrow. So if you see this on the day of the release, just subscribe, like. If we get 10 likes, I'll try to do daily uploads until August at least, and maybe even until the end of August, until September. 10 likes and we'll do that. And I'll put long nights in, long days for you to get as much content as you deserve.